we're definitely going to talk about some of the baby steps that the league is taking to evolve, and who better to do that than Ellen Hyslop. She is the co-founder and head of content at The Gist, joining us from Canada. Hey, Ellen, how's it going?
Hey, thanks so much for having me on. It's great to be here.
We're so happy to have you. You are an expert. So last season, we saw the New York Liberty get fined for chartering flights during the season. Many players spoke up about the topic, demanding fair treatment and access to appropriate travel accommodations. And as much as we want it now, we have to understand this evolution. And you have an incredible podcast where you guys dove into this, really comparing it to the NBA and to other leagues. Can you talk more about that?
Yes, definitely. And I think, it's really hard to necessarily compare the WNBA to the NBA given the history of both of the leagues. But I think the most exciting thing really heading into this season is that the WNBA is going to have chartered flights for the duration of the WNBA playoffs. So from tip-off of the playoffs all the way to the finals, they're also going to have chartered flights for the Commissioner's Cup final. And they are also going to have chartered flights for select back-to-back games so that players are able to get there on time. And I think really the biggest thing that's coming out of all of this is that the team, the league, its owners are really investing in the players and are saying, hey, we want to provide you with the tools so that you could be the best product that you can be when you get on the court. But it really is also a reflection of the league's success over the years and all of the record-breaking viewership and sponsorship and in real life attendance that we're seeing in order for them to get these charter flights. At the end of the day, all we want is for all athletes to be treated like elite pro athletes. And this is a great next step into the WNBA really treating their hoopers in the same way that a lot of men's pro leagues treat theirs.
I love that. And you make such a great point about them getting treated and not making the comparison. We hear so much people comparing it to the NBA and comparing it to other leagues, but we just can't do that yet. They're two different things. No. So talk also about how these baby steps are going to really help the league overall in years to come.
Yeah, there's a lot of different ways that the league is kind of trying to set themselves up as the go-to destination for WNBA players. I think one thing that we definitely need to talk about is the new prioritization rule that has come into effect this year from the CBA. And that really is that players who have 2 years or more of experience have to kind of come back from their international teams if they're playing overseas to the WNBA by May 1st. So that's kind of come and gone. If they're not back by May 1st for training camp, they get fined. And if they're not back for the regular season, there is threat of suspension as well. And with that, really what the league is saying to its players is that we know that you are the product and we want you to be here in order for fans, the ecosystem, everything like that to thrive and to be happy. I think with that though, and when you're talking about these small baby steps that come off of that, is that it means that the WNBA is further investing into their players, paying them more, thinking about revenue share, thinking about what the next CBA looks like so that the WNBA can be a sustainable league for these athletes so that they don't necessarily have to go overseas. And I think that's where we're marching towards. And then, of course, in addition, there's been so much talk recently about roster sizes and just that there's not so much space in the sport of basketball for all of this talent to land. And so it's going to be really interesting over the next few years to see how expansion plays out. We know that the WNBA is really interested in having at least 2 more expansion teams by 2026. So we'll see if we have any news for that by the end of this year.
Expansion teams, we are ready for those. That's for sure. I know Natasha Cloud even commenting, some of these first round picks are getting cut. So more teams, more roster spots is certainly what we want. All right, Ellen, thank you so much for joining us today. And everyone, check out her podcast, The Gist of It. It is so helpful as you start to learn more and see the evolution. So thanks for being here today.